My name's Jaden. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I remember. I'm quite nervous. I remember sitting at when this meeting was at the Cuddy Sark, and there were people sharing for their 1 year while I just entered treatment, and I was like, these guys, they've made it. You know, they know what's happening. And I sit here today doing my 1 year share, and I don't really know much of anything, to be honest with you. I'm fresh out of treatment again. And yeah, so it's kind of like I'm still a baby in recovery, you know, and it's kind of a scary thought, you know, like I thought I would have made it by now, but I really don't know much of anything, and that's kind of a scary thought if you think about it, but you know, I'm sitting here and I'm nervous, and hopefully I can get through it, you know. I was born in Johannesburg. I'm 21 years old now. So I'm quite young and compared to some of the other people in the room. And I was born to a family of, I'm the only child. My father was married before my mother and had 2 children, so I've got a half brother, half sister. I was only child, and I was born into a loving family. Mother gave unconditional love. My father put down strict boundaries and rules, but still gave that unconditional love. And so, I mean, growing up, you hear of alcoholism and you hear of people with a bottle underneath a bridge who had a hard childhood and a hard life, and I didn't have any of that, you know. I wanted for nothing, and I was given every opportunity a boy could ask for, you know. I mean, we moved down to Durban, and I spent most of my life in Durban. And yeah, there's no stark like memory of oh, that's where an alcoholic tendency when you were a youngster, you know, that's definitely alcoholic behavior. I went to private schools my whole life, all boys schools, and yeah, there's nothing much that like sticks out from my childhood. There were lies and dishonesties from a young age. Sorry, nothing really comes back to mind now, but there were the lies and dishonesties that got me to avoid my consequences. You know, I remember lies when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I've started avoiding consequences that way. And I mean, I realize now that that's quite an alcoholic behavior from a young age, but I thought every kid did that. I know all my friends did that, you know, like, oh no, just lie and then you won't get the spoon on your backside, you know. That's how I was disciplined strictly as a kid, you know. I wasn't no, don't do that again. I was disciplined, you know. I have no excuse for lack of a better term to be an alcoholic. Yeah, I went on and I was doing very well at school, in my primary school, playing sport. I had friends. I didn't feel too separate and apart. You know, that's one of the major things that sticks out for me. I didn't feel separate and apart. And then towards the end, you know, of my primary school career, I started getting bullied quite heavily, you know, for reasons that I don't understand. And in my head, everyone was taking the bully side. You know, everyone was ganging up against me. And then for the first time, I felt like I wasn't a part of my grade, my friend group. I felt isolated and alone. You know, and it was a horrible feeling. You know, when I was like 11, 12, 13, I couldn't really understand what that feeling was. I couldn't put a word to it. I can now. But it was a horrible feeling going to school every morning and not feeling like you could just walk into a group of friends and everyone will be happy to see you. And so yeah, I felt alone. You know, I had my friends, but it wasn't the friends I wanted. That makes best sense. I wanted to be a part of the cool crowd, the guys who got invited to all the girls' parties. You know, I wanted to be a part of that. And I was to a certain degree, but I still never felt like I belonged. Yeah, as for no substance in my body as of yet, no alcohol, nothing. So in comes high school, you know. I went to all boys termly boarding Christian high school, and so again, religion was drummed into me since primary school, and it was more like a tedious exercise going to chapel every morning. The hymns were by a huge organ, and we had a pastor speak to us about the same thing every day. So instantly, you know, my parents, who are here today, no pressure, they're religious. You know, my father's a God-fearing man. My mother's also God-fearing, taking a more of a spiritual path, like what we've been taught. So I've had it drilled into me, and Sunday school and everything like that. But why I'm bringing religion up is because I found God through this program, but I hated him. I hated the idea of how I have to conform to religion. So I just went through the motions. I had to go to chapel, otherwise you get detention. You know, that's the only reason why I attended. I didn't listen. I was often on my phone. So yeah, grade 8 came around, and I was alone. You know, the fortunate thing about that school is very few people from my primary school went to my high school, so I could, you know, fresh start. You know what I'm saying? No one knew me, which I thought would be, you know, I could start again. I could do what I wanted, and no one really knew that I was kind of alone at my old school. And so I break my arm the first 2 weeks quite badly at school. I was initiated by a matric and snapped my arm. And that threw away the opportunity to feel a part of, because sport was big in my life. So for the first 2 terms in high school, with new people, while everyone was on the sports field, I was alone in the tuck shop with my friend, the tuck shop lady. You know, she was my only. She spoke. I love her a bit. You know, she's awesome. But Mrs. K, I'll never forget. But yeah, she was my friend. I would talk to her. She was genuinely my only person I could really open up and talk to. So again, you know, new fresh start, instant whack of feeling separate and apart. And one thing that stuck out for me was, you know, there was this guy in my dorm. We were in a dormitory of 17 people. We stayed with each other throughout high school in the same house. And he was gay, you know. He came out in grade 8. And everyone started picking on the kid, you know. And I'm like, I'm not going to be on this side. I've been on this side before. I want to be the guy picking on him. And I picked on him quite badly, you know, for whatever reason I found. I've never felt such power. You know, it sounds horrible, but like for everyone on your side and you're on the side, and this kid's getting picked on and bullied, and that was like an awesome. I felt a part of. I felt part of the bullies. I've never been a part of that before, and that was like the most epic feeling ever. You know, that was I wanted more of that. So I carried on bullying him quite badly, and I kind of found a place amongst these people. You know. Again, no substance in my body, but again, I started feeling a part of, you know, the whole. There's a lot of history and tradition in our school, and if you're a part of the school, you're a part of a bigger whole, and I love that feeling, you know. I felt a part of something when I didn't really have to work to be a part of it, you know. I just had to attend the school. And playing sports eventually, like I felt a part of a winning team, I felt a part of a losing team. I was a part of a team, and I love that. But that started, that fad of feeling a part of that school started like drifting, you know, as I went through, you know. I started getting bullied again, feeling separate and apart, couldn't wait to come home. And then in came grade 9, and I was doing public speaking for inter-house. So we go there, no one else wants to come, but one of my friends comes and supports me, and they're having a music festival, you know, like a little music orchestra, school orchestra's playing for some locals, and here's a case of beer there, you know. And I say to him, I'm like, listen, you know, grab a few for me. So he goes, he grabs a few. I'm shitting myself for this. I'm so self-obsessed. I do the public speaking on the most controversial topic I could find, because that's what I like to do. I love the shock factor I could give people. And I come top 3 or whatever, and that's all fine. But I'm sweating. I'm nervous like I am now. And we go around the boarding house and we just chug these beers. I completely smash it, and instantly I'm still self-obsessed, even though it's finished. And that self-obsession just went away. You know, I was like, oh. You know, I was sitting there, I was talking, I was laughing with a friend, we were getting on, not epically, just 1 or 2 beers. But like I was 15, I was small. Trust me, 1 or 2 beers did a lot for me then. And instantly, like that feeling was just awesome. You know, I couldn't really link the alcohol to the feeling of being at ease yet. I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but it was just like a whole release for me. You know, I went back into the boarding house. I was tipsy, and I spoke to everyone. There's a whole hierarchy system where you don't speak to an older grade. But I was sitting in an older grade study talking nonsense. No one knew I had been drinking, and it was just like I felt a part of everyone again. I could talk, I could be free, I could be open, and that was an awesome feeling, you know, and that memory sticks out for me quite strong. Anyway, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do any substances for a while. You know, I just let that pass. That was a cool experience. I didn't really link the alcohol to the feeling of being a part of as of yet. Eventually I make it to grade 10, and now everyone's getting fake IDs. You know, now the mischievous part in everyone's really coming out. You know, everyone's not a junior in the school; they're a senior. They're going out clubbing. They're hooking up with girls, and I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't, and I felt so. Again, like, why wasn't I like everyone else? You know, everyone else can just easily go and talk to a girl. Everyone else can just, you know, their parents don't care because their majority of the kids' parents were in Joburg, so they just snuck out for the weekend and went drinking and clubbing and came back. And they came back on Sunday night after their weekend out, and they told these epic stories of how they were passing out on the pavement. That was so appealing to me back then. There were girls, and I wanted in, you know, so. I lived in Durban, and everyone else's parents lived in Johannesburg, and I heard there was something going on Saturday night at a horrible club called Tacos. And I said to my parents, "Hey, Mom, Dad, can I go? You know, I've got my fake learner's license." And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And then I invite the most popular guys in the grade to come to my house because they didn't have a place to stay. Blatantly, they're using me for a place to stay. They didn't really like me, but I don't care. I'm arriving with these guys. You know, I thought I was, and it was such a great feeling. You know, I arrived there. Someone stole their dad's credit card and put it behind the bar. So the bar was open to anyone, like all of us. You know, and it was like I got absolutely hammered. I hooked up with a popular girl, and then I go home, I pass out, and the next day we go back to school, and I was the talk. You know, I was like a talker. Everyone like, "Hey, did you see what Jaden did last night? He was so off. He was with this girl, and he was talking, and I got messages on my phone from everyone who was at the girls' schools, and I was like, this is the feeling, you know. And then I linked it. I was like, because I'm with popular kids, I was drunk. I didn't have to like worry about what I was saying. I didn't have that self-obsession. I didn't have that. And at that moment, I linked it. I was like, alcohol gives me this, you know, and then getting off gives me this. And that there was, that was a dangerous thought. But I didn't really think about how much alcohol would take over my life eventually at that stage. My both sides of the family, and my mom and dad, have alcoholism. But my mom kept reminding me and said, "You must be careful. You remember your great-grandfather, he was alive, and he said he was a full-blown alcoholic, and the things that and my grandfather, her mother, the things that my gran had to go through, and just be careful, you've got alcoholic tendencies, you know, to drink a lot." And, I mean, like, you could have told me that alcohol would have killed me in 2 years at that point, I would have still drank, you know, because that was, like, it was awesome, it was my solution, you know. So everything carries on. I'm kind of making friends with the popular guys now. And I start feeling separate and apart. You know, I'm not doing well at school. I dropped the sports that I love for reasons that I don't even know. More to just to spend more time with these guys so they'll start to like me. And then we start smoking green, you know, at school. And that there was like a whole different vibe, you know. I got invited to Zim, and the first time I ever smoked was on a houseboat in Kariba. And that there was, I mean, you couldn't imagine like a better place, you know. It was away, no parents, and I smoked, and it was even better than alcohol for me, you know. I was relaxed. Sure, I didn't talk as much, but I didn't care. There was not a care in the world, you know. I was floating on a dam. There's some crocodiles there doing their thing, elephants drinking water, and I was stoned. And that was an awesome, awesome feeling. I won't lie. I wanted that feeling forever, you know. Anyway, alcoholic behavior started coming out quite a lot when I entered grade 11. It was 2014. Some of the older people are going, sheesh, you know, I'm grade 17. But 2014, I was in grade 11, and I started smoking at school. You know, we started doing chewing tobacco because the smoke detectors couldn't catch that. Everything mischievous, you know, and everyone just said, like, it's just boys being boys. We at boarding school, we get up to mischief, and I was like, that's a brilliant excuse. But little did everyone else know that. I mean, I was hiding bottles of vodka in my cupboard. Little did everyone else know that we would like sneak a few sips. But what it was doing for me was like a world of difference. What it was doing for them. For them, it was just being mischievous, like having 2 slugs at break and then going to class a little bit. But for me, I was taking 4 or 5, and everything was okay again. You know, everything was fine. I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't have to worry about people judging me while I was walking to the classroom. You know, worrying like if I'm wearing the right. We had a uniform, right? But everyone had to wear the tight shirts from grade 8, so all your muscles showed. And everyone was so self-obsessed for everyone that wears the same clothing, but I was like extremely self-obsessed. But when I was drinking and I had those sips at break, I was fine. I didn't care. And I thought everyone felt like that, you know. I didn't know what it was like to be an alcoholic. I didn't know what it meant. So I thought everyone had that feeling, you know. But then I started getting bottles of vodka, and I started slugging a bit more when no one was knowing. I was in a room sharing with a guy, and he didn't know I was drinking. And then he was like, "Who finished?" Because he knew the bottles there. Like, who finished the bottle? And I'm like, "Oh, you know, I think Ben came in and had some and didn't tell us." Meanwhile, I was drinking it behind everyone's back. So that's where it really started getting going. It was grade 11. You know, I got a girlfriend, fell in love. What I thought love was. I cared for the girl, you know, and we carried on dating for about 2.5 years. And then from there, the clubbing, the jawling, the drinking kind of dissipated. It didn't mean much. I still smoked a bit of. Can I say it? No, I can't. I still smoked some drugs. Yeah, at school, you know. I still smoked some at school, like to be mischievous with the boys, but I didn't really care. I had my fix, you know. She was the most important thing in my life. Schoolwork didn't mean anything to me. My sport didn't mean anything to me. I was obsessed. Like if we had WhatsApp and she didn't reply within 10 minutes, there was something wrong. You know, I was really, really obsessed. And matric after parties, grade 11 dance after parties, I didn't go to. I'd rather just spend time with her, you know. I didn't care. I didn't worry about being separate and apart. I was a part of her, and she was a part of me. And that was it. You know, that made it for me. And I have to share about this because it's so important for me at the moment. One of my friends just died from medication. I was put on medication beginning of matric because I was depressed. I couldn't really make sense of it. I felt so stiff inside. I got letters from the headmaster telling me I was going to fail matric if I don't do something. So everything was just spiraling out of control. I was unmanageable, completely unmanageable. And my parents, shame, it's so horrible. It made such perfect sense that I was depressed and had ADHD. It made such perfect sense, you know, the way that this Dr. Sharon said to my mom and dad and sat me down and we did all the little tests and she showed me a photo of what my brain is like and all that nonsense. And I was thrown onto a shitload of medication off the bat. Not really, let's just try this. They just piled on I don't know how many tablets. And for a short while, like everything, you know, okay, this must be working. No, we've got the dosage wrong. We've got the wrong combination here. And we were trying all this different things going around. And then I rock up to school. We have to rock up early, matric, invite the new boys. And my housemaster looked at me and said, "Sheesh, have you been on the Banting diet?" I lost, I think, 12 kilograms in 2 months. I don't know what, and I already don't weigh much, you know, so I must, like my cheeks were sunken in. I don't know what was going on for me, but it an attempt at a solution that I could have to what my problem is, what I thought my problem was. So I'm on all this medication, and I start passing out at school. I'm on sleeping tablets that I'm taking 7 of that no one knows of. I'm passing out at school, and eventually it was just advised that I take a month off school. And a month off boarding school isn't just like a month off day school. A month off boarding school is like everyone knows that you're gone. You're not there. So I took a month off, trying to balance this medication, get the right combination or whatever they said. And I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with me, but they just kept throwing medication at me, changing this, changing that. And then I kind of like the effect sleeping tablets had on me. I like if you push through sleeping tablets, you start hallucinating and start tripping out, and you don't really remember what you did. And you wake up the next morning to a mess, and it's like, what did I do? That little excitement of what did I do in blackout. And I love that. So I just said, I'm struggling to sleep. These are horrible. And I've done my research, and I'm like, I want those meds. I want that sleeping tablet. And they're like, that's right. Why didn't we think of that? And so eventually I get that sleeping tablet, I get Ritalin, I get antidepressants, I get anti-life medication. So school, matric came around, I come back, I'm kind of getting it okay. But some guy says the stupidest comment, and I go and I headbutt him straight. The aggression, I didn't understand where it came from. I've never really been that aggressive, but I started punching walls. The walls always won. I started punching walls, and I just headbutted this guy, and I got disciplined quite heavily, for something so stupid. My first day back. And me being me, I don't like consequences, and I know that the disciplinary master is an arsehole, and he doesn't like me. So I record him during my what's it called? My disciplinary hearing. I record him because I know he's going to say some stupid things, and it's going to get me off the hook. And my parents were backing me because, the innocent boy does nothing wrong. So I recorded them, and I transcribed it. We transcribed it, and we put it on the headmaster's table, and we said, I think you should give it a listen what your disciplinary master's doing. So from 2 weeks, permanent recorded headmaster's gating, I got 2 days and not on permanent record. So again, wiped clean. I tried every angle to get out of mischief at this stage. It was just me. As long as I manage what I need to manage, screw the rest. Taking 7 sleeping tablets a night when I got back it made me sleep through till 10, missing class, getting detention. Once I got detention, I needed a way to get out of detention. I got onto we do everything online. All the masters write online what detention you got. I log into their things. I take myself off detention. I don't do consequences to my behavior. I don't. Anything that I can do to avoid it, I do. So I manage that. I have morals. I didn't change my marks. So then someone said to me, why don't you crush up this ADHD tablet and sniff it? I'm like, well, that sounds like a brilliant idea. So I did it, and that blew my mind. That was I didn't even to study. I could study from midday till 3 in the morning without getting up to use the toilet. I was wired. And that was a brilliant solution, because I can't study. I don't like studying, but if I'm on this, I can just put my head down and go. So I would do that, then I'd take 7 sleeping tablets, only wake up at 10, miss class, try to get to class, just like a whole horrible cycle of trying to save my own arse, the whole of matric. While still trying to manage a girlfriend who doesn't know what's wrong with me, but still trying to stand by my side. My parents are stressing because they don't know what's wrong with their boy. My housemasters are wanting to drug test me because I look like I'm on drugs, which I am, but they think street drugs. I'm on hardcore drugs. So matric was a mess. I write my trials, I write my finals, still on all this medication, and I pass. But if you were to ask me anything in any of my examinations that I took in matric, I couldn't tell you a single thing. The last real academic work that I remember was probably grade 10. I don't remember anything. The medication made me regurgitate what I read, but then it slipped my mind completely. I don't remember anything. It's kind of sad. So matric ends. We go to rage. Everyone's doing drugs. I just get blackout drunk. girlfriend has to put me in a taxi and take me home. I claimed I was spiked, but I really wasn't. I think my mom even took me for a blood test because she thought I was spiked, but I wasn't. I was just drunk. Sorry. Anything to get out of trouble. You know, I don't want to admit that I can't handle my booze. I don't want to admit that I got too drunk. I don't want to admit any of that. So then I was fortunate enough to go over. My mom, an opportunity came around to go to Brazil with a friend, in Argentina with a friend for my matric holiday, and I was very, very lucky to do that. So off I go, you know, experiencing life with a friend and traveling. And just before, I had no plans after school as of yet. So I end up in Brazil, and it was New Year's on Copacabana Beach in Rio. And someone says, "Do you want some of this?" And, you know, when in Rome, so I was like, "Yeah, let's try that. You know, that looks really nice." So I tried this drug, and it made the ADHD medication look like baking soda. It was incredible. It was just me and my friend there and a guy that we met from the Philippines, and we were just doing, it's just our thing as three. But when I was on this drug, my friend passed out, he was blacked out. I took him to the room and I carried on going. I made probably 40 friends. People were talking, we made a group, we were all doing our thing, and I was like, you know, I was the center of attention, and that there was amazing. I could talk, I could do my thing, I could drink a lot, and without feeling drunk. It was my new solution. It made the other medication look horrible. It made the green stuff look horrible. The alcohol was always a pattern in my life. It was always there. But this was my thing, you know. So the next day I flew home, no sleep, obviously. And now I'm stuck at a limbo, you know. I've had an awesome time. I finished matric. It's like, what do I do now? And my girlfriend says, I'm going to Cape Town to study. And however it happened, I mean, she said, okay, cool, I'll come with. You know, all university applications had closed, so I applied to like a community college, private university, and they accept me. So off I go, you know. Parents are so proud of me. I finished matric. I'm going to study a BCom in Cape Town. You know, they're very proud of me, you know. They were so excited that their boy's moving on. And I was like, you know, I've drank, I've smoked, I've done this, but I'm not going to really do it again, you know. I'm focused on my studies. I've got my girlfriend with me. I've got some friends going over there, you know, fresh start again. So I end up there, and it was all about the girlfriend, you know. It was all about that. The clubbing and the jawling didn't really come into play for the first bit, you know, because I was fixing off a girl. Drinking, not a big thing for me. I started smoking a little bit more green stuff before, a little bit more than usual, but not unmanageable, you know. And then I come home for the holidays in June, July, and my attendance is, I think, like 30%. I failed a lot. And again, I got shut out by my dad. I got nailed, and I gave up some nonsense excuse that I can't even remember. I will do better next semester. Okay, cool. You know, we have faith in you again. So I go there. Girlfriend breaks up with me, and now I'm stuck there. And I'm like, no, varsity is not important. I'm stuck there. I'm alone. I feel so separate and apart. None of my friends want to talk to me because I've cancelled them out because the girlfriend was everything. I'm stuck there alone in an apartment in Rondebosch with nothing, you know, and it was like a brick wall. So I said to myself, like, what's the plan forward here? Started smoking, started drinking a lot by myself, and I hated. I still felt separate and alone, even though I had my solution to feel a part of. I still felt separate and alone, and I went to varsity on a very rare occasion. I decided to go some, I think, class. And there was a group of guys, they're very popular guys at the varsity. Everyone knew them, they were all from the area. And I said, hey, do you have a lighter? I just walked up and, do you have a lighter? And they said, okay, 25 rand. I'm like, I don't have 25 rand, but I got a joint. And instantly, you know, like, oh, this guy's like us. You know? And eventually started making friends with these guys. We started clubbing, we started going jawling. I didn't care about the ex-girlfriend anymore. And more drugs started coming in, these drugs I've never tried before. tablets, powders, potions, all this, and it was. They were my people, because the competition was whoever can get the most on wins. Whoever can wake up in a gutter 3 days later wins. That was the kind of people that I was hanging out with. I've cut out all my high school friends. Girlfriend doesn't matter, but these people were like me, you know. Whoever drinks the most wins. Whoever uses the most wins. Whatever stupid competition we were actually having. It's not an official competition, but it was like. And I just, balls to the wall, I just went, hey, and I started getting involved with this, like, a trans community. These guys always made me feel a part of and so cool, as long as I had drugs, as long as I had something to drink. Very conditional friendships, I won't lie. But I felt so included since the breakup, and probably the most included I've ever felt, because I was always under influence of something for a good 6 months, 5 months. So naturally, I fail school, I fail varsity, I come home, and I'm going to stop. You know, it was fun while it lasted. My parents are so, disappointed that I threw away an opportunity like that. And I don't really care. I had a cool time. It didn't bother me at the time. So I've stopped now. I've stopped using. I'm still on a load of medication, but I've stopped using the bad stuff. You know, I'm still drinking, but that was okay because you can only drink a certain amount in front of your parents, and I'm home again. I get a job, and I get introduced to a guy at work who is again like me, and off the bat we start again, and it just doesn't stop. Clubbing, joining, partying, again feeling a part of a different community. As long as I was on, it's fine. Then I had like a blank. I couldn't do it anymore. I got fired from my job. My father's not talking to me. My mother's barely talking to me. We live under the same house, same roof. And I hit this wall where I didn't want to do anything anymore. So I sat in my room alone, cleared out his liquor cabinets completely, and I drank myself every night for, I think, 3 weeks into oblivion. As long as I passed out with a bottle in my hand, I was happy. I didn't want to go clubbing. I didn't want to go joining. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't care about feeling separate and apart, because when I was blackout, drunk, I didn't have to worry about that stuff because I didn't feel anything. I cleared out the liquor cabinet. I mean, I drank I think some of that wine was off. It was really revolting. As long as it had a bit of alcohol in it, I was fine. I didn't care what it was. I wasn't going to order mojito at home. I was going to just smash whatever I could find. So I cleared out all my dad's liquor. Some of his very collectible wine. I wasn't really impressed with that. And I came home one day. My mom came back from Australia. She brought some vacuum cleaner or whatever, and she asked me to please put it together, and I couldn't because I hadn't had a drink that day. I was shaking so much. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm low on sugar," and I couldn't put the screwdriver. I'll never forget that. And I don't think my mom knew any better, but I had the tremors. I was drinking so much. Anyway, I go out with my mom the next day, come back, and I try to hide these bottles in my room, but I don't know how my dad found it. I don't really want to know. But every single bottle that I cleared was on the table, and he goes, "What is this?" And I had no answer for that. No. I had no answer to that. And again, another night goes, and I still have a bottle somewhere in the room. I drink a bit, and the next day I realized that I couldn't carry on like this. It was horrible. You know, all my friends are getting degrees. They're moving on. They're still partying and clubbing, but then the next day they go to varsity. I can't relate to that. I go for weeks on end. I don't speak to my parents. I take my SIM card out my phone. I just had to go all the way, and everyone else could carry on with life, and I couldn't. You know. So I walked into my parents' room the next morning, and I said, "Listen, I need help." You know. And yeah, that's what happened. That's what it was like, and now starts the what happened part, which is also. So yeah, eventually I go to rehab. They shoved me full of medication. I loved it because I only remembered 3 days of 3 weeks. It was like an alcoholic's heaven. I drank, I used at the rehab. They kicked me out, and they sent me to this place called, oh, sorry, I can't say that. They sent me to this really hardcore 12-step treatment center, you know, with and I walk in there, and this lady says, I'm going to sponsor you. So, okay, for 2 days I got her, but then this other sponsor grabbed me and said, I'm going to sponsor you. And that could be the worst or the best thing that ever happened to me, because he's strict. Like, I couldn't get anything past this guy. I tried, for I think 4 days in a row, I tried an angle here, he shot me down. He tried an angle here, he shot me down. I tried and eventually I was just like, okay, you know what, whatever. I wanted to leave. I didn't like it there because they didn't give me my meds. And I couldn't have my phone, and they had these concern groups, which are it's horrible. And you could fucking walk in the morning. I didn't like any of that, you know, but eventually I stayed. And I just stayed, and I pushed through the first month. The second month passed. Third month was awesome. Fourth month was incredible. And I learned so much about myself. I finished the 12 steps. I learned that my life was unmanageable. I was powerless when I had some substance in my body. I didn't believe in God, but now I'm building a relationship with the most incredible God I know. I can't, the things that happen in that treatment center, I can't explain, but God lives there. You know, definitely, He lives there. My sponsor is still hard on me. So I eventually feel a part of a community again without drugs and alcohol. I have friends, people who call me out. And I leave, and he says, what do you want to do when you move forward from here? I want to go home. No, you're going to the halfway house. And at that point, I was like, okay. You know, I'd surrendered at that point. My self-will came back quite hard. I went to the halfway house, got a job, carried on with life, and then my sponsor said, you need to study. Okay, so I applied to university, and then they're in London, and they say to me, listen, where have you been since 2015? And I'm like, oof. You know, maybe I should say a sabbatical. My father suggested that I did an in-depth field study on the effects of street drugs on human. But I said, I did everything through my sponsor. I said, listen, I write up a thing, I send it to him. He changes a few things, he goes, send it through. And you know what? Whatever happened, happened. I sent it through, and 2 days later, they thanked me for my honesty, and they accepted me into university in London. And that's where I'm going in September. All through rigorous honesty. No lies, no cheating. I told them as it is, and if it happened, happened. It's God's will, whatever happened. And that there was such a turning point in my recovery about being honest. Little did I know that I was going to get super dishonest in the next few months. Eventually I move on, and things just start getting unmanageable again. I'm lying, I'm being dishonest, I'm sneaking around with people I shouldn't be sneaking around with at the halfway house, without a drug in my body, without a sip of alcohol in my body for a couple of months now. And I just carry on being a mischievous brat. I lie, I'm dishonest, I tell my sponsor nonsense, I tell him what he wants to hear, I lie to the people I'm living with. But I've come to learn that you can't bullshit bullshitters, you know. I live with people who've got degrees in dishonesty, so you can't really get anything past them. And my sponsor says to me, he goes, listen, come back to treatment. So I pick up my keys and I start walking out, because I'm not coming back here. I can't face another concern group. And my mother and father, again, because I didn't want to go into the treatment center to begin with, the second one. My father and father said, listen, we've seen some signs with you. There's something not okay. I can't see it. I think I'm doing great. You know, my arrogance tells me I'm hundreds. This disease tells me I'm hundreds when I'm sick. And eventually they said, listen, you can come home, you're clean, you're sober, that's the rules. But we have to take away London. We can't with a good conscience send you there when we don't know. So eventually I'm like, okay, you know what, I want that so badly. That's my savior, that's my solution is London. So I go in and I redo my steps, and it was the most amazing experience ever to realize that it's all behavior-based. This has nothing to do with alcohol. Alcohol is just a symptom of this disease. It's all behavior-based. I did all that stuff. I mean, I filled quite a lot in my assignment on stuff that I did sober, and that's scary. I worked through that, and I realized that I can't base my happiness on anything besides my own sobriety and the love of my higher power. And I realized that this year had been my entire step 6. because I left treatment thinking, hey, some things are still working for me, some arrogance is still working for me, dishonesty they're still working for me. Why would I get rid of something that's working for me? Alcohol's not working for me anymore, I don't want that. But these defects are still working for me. Until they kicked me in the ass. They kicked me in the ass quite hard, and I don't want them anymore. I officially took step 6. It took me a year to take step 6, well, just less than a year. Took step 6 and I don't want it anymore. I don't want those defects. I still act out on them, but I don't want them. They don't benefit me anymore. Spiritual principles benefit me. And yeah, I've got a relationship with my mother and father that I never thought possible. My father said he's proud of me for the first time in years. My mother loves me still unconditionally, but she shows it. She teaches me things I didn't know. My sponsor teaches me things about myself. I played with my niece high as a kite. I played with her sober, and my sister she was still looking over her shoulder, but not as much. Things are changing slowly, and I get it. I get it that not everything's going to be okay like that, because I put damage in people's lives. I really hurt people throughout this whole journey. I've hurt people, but I'm making my amends slowly, my indirect amends, and as things are materializing in front of me, I want more of it. I want more of this program. I want more of the grace of my higher power. I want more of it. Like a good alcoholic, I want more. And the only way I can get more is to work these 12 steps to the best of my ability, speak to my sponsor, and get on my knees every morning and every night. That's the only way I can get more of it. And I'm willing to do that. It has blown my mind, and I'm a year clean and sober. I've been back into treatment, clean and sober. I've had a weird first year, but it's been the experience I needed to have, to officially understand this disease at the age of 21, where I'm fortunate enough that I feel like I do. I might not. I feel like I do. But I'm blessed. I really am. I found my new solution at the age of 20. Now I sit here at 21. I had my 21st birthday, clean and sober. I went to bed at 10 and I woke up at 6 the next morning. I don't know how many people can say that, And I loved every second of it. With friends who care about me, who call me out, and who love me, genuinely love me. It's been an incredible journey so far, and hopefully I don't want it to end. But I know if I don't want it to end, I've got to do what's required of me to stay clean and sober. Thanks for letting me share.
Nice.